The following is a fan-based discussion. All properties discussed are property of Toei Inc., Bandai, Hasbro, and Tsuburaya Productions. Hello, everyone!
Hi!
Welcome back to Tokutiers.
Yes!
Something a little bit different this time around.
Yes.
I was not in the mech video, but I still wanted to do one of my own. Marcus was the one who suggested this to me, so thank you for that. One of the things I love, one of the things I grew up with, it's Godzilla movies. You could technically say it's one of the earlier tokus I ever saw, along with Power Rangers. So here we are. We have from S to F. I've already put the ones that I haven't seen. Let's get started. I've got these arranged in chronological order, at least as close as I could. Because some of the posters were different on the wiki, and they're all the Japanese ones, so it was a little difficult at first, but here we go. We're starting off with the first one.
I like
the one that started it all, and I'm just going to say it, it's S tier.
It is.
It's a great movie.
I like this movie a lot.
It holds up incredibly well. It's got really good acting. It's much more of a horror film and a look at how Godzilla is a representation for the atomic energy that we essentially unleashed upon Japan and how they dealt with the aftermath and them recovering from it, and for sociological and just for what it did for Japanese cinema as a whole. And the fact that it still holds up and it's a really good movie, it has to go in S.
Now, to be fair, I haven't seen a lot of these. I've seen a few. I've seen the original Godzilla. I love that movie. I think it's amazing, actually.
Yeah.
There was a lot of things that, especially, this is Toho.
Yes.
Okay, so there are a lot of things that Toho did first, and they started to incorporate, especially in Ultraman, because that came, just a couple years after this.
Mm-hmm.
So it's so interesting to see that go into Ultra Q and then go into Ultraman proper, and we still end up using a lot of the things that they did back then today, and I love it.
And in one of the movies later on down the list, we're going to see just how much of an impact Ultraman really had. Godzilla versus Mothra.
I've seen this one too.
What do you think of this one?
It's been years since I've seen it. I think it's interesting just how much Mothra has changed going forward.
Mm-hmm. I think it's interesting how Mothra has been, because Godzilla has been essentially a rampant force of nature.
Yeah.
Mothra, since her inception, has always been a divine protector of sorts. And that's
always been a good guy.
Yes, always. Mothra's It's usually a girl, so I'll say she.
Good female.
Good female.
Where would you put this?
I'm gonna put this one in B.
Okay.
This one's pretty good. Now this next one, Ghidorah the three-headed monster, or Ghidra, depending on how you want to say it. I remember the first time I saw this one, it was my birthday. I think I was turning 9, and we rented this from Blockbuster.
Blockbuster.
And that dates this quite a bit.
Unless you live in Alaska, where the last one is.
Have you seen this one?
I feel like I've seen a lot of the earlier ones, especially.
Here's the problem with a lot of Showa era Godzilla: they're very easy to mix up.
I've seen a lot of the earlier ones, but I've seen a lot of the early ones in clips, not full movies.
I feel the same way.
Yeah.
At least certainly about the ones that I haven't seen. This one, it's alright. Not the best of the Showa era, but it's okay. It does introduce us to Ghidra, which is pretty cool, and he's always been a really good monster. There's some really humorous moments in this one, but I think I'm going to put this one in C.
Okay.
It's okay. Destroy all monsters.
I've seen this.
I've seen this one too, and this was another one I think I rented from Blockbuster as a kid. And one of the reasons it caught my eye, because I remember in the video store, both in Blockbuster and in Hollywood Video, comment if you remember that too.
Lord, I remember the Hollywood. There used to be a really big one near us, where I live now.
There was one within walking distance of my house.
And now it's just Walmart.
I know what you're talking about. I know exactly what you're talking about. It's just a Walmart now. But Destroy All Monsters, I remember because all in the science fiction section of both Blockbuster and Hollywood, they had all the Godzilla movies. And I remember this one caught my eye because it didn't have Godzilla's name in the title.
Yeah.
But that was him on the cover.
Yeah.
And I knew, it's like, oh, there's Mothra, there's Ghidorah, this ought to be interesting. My young mind was blown by how many monsters were in this thing.
There were a lot of them.
Like, every monster they had created, some of which I don't think they ever used again, like Gorosaurus, who's basically just a derpy-looking T-Rex. He's in this movie. He doesn't really do much. He's just a T-Rex and he's there because, hey, dinosaurs. I think I'm going to put this one in C.
Okay.
Endearingly cheesy, but not a particularly good movie. Now, this one I have a fond memory of because this one...
Which one is it?
The name is escaping me at the moment. All Monsters Attack. I believe is the name of this one. This is the second time we saw Manila, Godzilla's son. Oh, okay. And I liked him. He was kind of cute. He did look pretty silly, but I thought he was cute.
I'm just remembering the cartoon.
This story is one of the ones I related to most as a kid because that's who the protagonist is. It's a little boy who's dealing with bullies. He has this friend who's a girl who he's trying to get to like him. You look so...
Man. It's like a lot of more recent Kamen Rider movies. And I'm just like, whenever they do that, I'm just like, wow, I don't like this.
It's done so much well. It's done good here.
Okay.
At least I thought it certainly was. And we see, like, the kid bonds with Godzilla's son, and Godzilla's son is also dealing with a monster of his own. And in the end, when they fight, and Gabra, that's the other monster that he's fighting, when they win, and the kids are screaming, "Go home, Gabra, you're a loser!" I was like, yeah, that's awesome! I'm putting this one in B. For sheer feels factor. Because why not?
Okay, next.
Are you okay?
Next.
We're moving on to something a little more traditional. Godzilla vs. Hedorah, the smog monster.
I haven't seen this.
For anyone, you may have seen this GIF. It's the GIF where Godzilla is flying using his radioactive breath.
I've seen that GIF.
That's what this is from.
Oh, that's amazing.
What this is from. And so Hedorah, he's a monster made of pollution, essentially. Pollution and radiation have created this ugly pile of sludge that is sentient, and I like his design. I like that he has multiple forms, which is pretty cool. He has like a flying saucer form that he can use to fly. It's kind of like a tadpole, I guess you could say, that he can use to fly, because that's how Godzilla like catches him in the end when he does the flying thing with his breath. Jesus. He has that, and then he has like the big sludge monster form, and I like this one. This one is quite good, so I'm going to put it in B.
I just like the GIF.
That scene, the music that plays during that scene, where it's like this rousing, like marching music. It's like
I love how
like
they use in these older Godzilla movies just random marching music. Mm-hmm. I think that's hilarious, amazing. All right, what's next?
It's pretty funny. Godzilla versus Gigan. Gigan is a really cool monster. This movie didn't leave a whole lot of an impression on me.
I don't think I've ever heard of this one.
Gigan, he's the one. He's got the hooks for the hands, the spines on his belly. He's got like one red eye that he can shoot lasers out of.
I'm thinking of Ultraman.
Yeah, I wouldn't blame you for saying that.
To be fair, a lot of the suits that they used in the Godzilla movies, they ended up using an Ultraman later on.
Yes, they have. I'm thinking I'm going to put this one in D, just because of how little an impression it left on me. Godzilla vs. Megalon. This one is fun. And this is where Ultraman really comes in, because this is the introduction of Jet Jaguar, who is a giant humanoid, who is a humanoid robot that can grow in size. If you've ever seen the gif of Godzilla shaking hands with a big Ultraman-looking thing, that's where this is from.
You gotta love when they end up bringing in, because essentially these two properties interact so often.
Yeah.
Especially in the early days, so it's hilarious to me.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna put this one in B. This one is fun. Okay, Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla.
I've never seen this one. I actually want to.
It's pretty good. Once again, we have because a lot of the Showa era movies, there is an alien race that is controlling some other monster
Obviously.
to do nasty things. And this one, it's Mechagodzilla. It leads this movie has one of the funniest moments in all of Godzilla history.
What's that?
So Godzilla and King Caesar, they're fighting Mechagodzilla. Mechagodzilla starts spinning his head around really fast, and it creates a force shield around him. Godzilla breathes on it. Nothing happens. And he's like, And he waltzes up to it, and he kind of goes, tries to like punch him with both of his arms, and his hands get like burned on the friction of the force field, and he gets blown backwards. The way the suit actor plays this, it's like you can see all of the emotion in his face where he's like, it's no good, I'll have to penetrate on foot. Waddle, 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 waddle. Oh god, it's hot! It's so funny. And the rest of the movie is really enjoyable. King Caesar is a pretty cool monster, even if his introduction is a little silly.
Lackluster, rather.
Lackluster, mainly because the first time I saw this movie, it was dubbed. And it's those old dubs. And King Caesar he's like a big statue. He's like sealed in a statue inside of a shrine. And,
that sounds weird and familiar.
And the woman who is like in charge of the shrine, it's like her and her father. She has to like go into the beach and sing a song to awaken him.
Oh no!
And you have to listen to the dubbed version of that, and it's just like
it's trash.
It's that crappy audio quality, like.
Just makes you want to die.
The audio is constantly peaking, and it just sounds all weird. But even with that aside, this movie's enjoyable. I'm putting it in B. Godzilla raids again. This movie is great. It was released in America as Godzilla 1984. And from what I understand, that version's terrible. Don't know. I've never seen it.
You've only seen the sub version.
Okay, yeah, I've only seen the sub version as well. But this movie's really good. It gets a little more back to basics. It's just Godzilla. We get some really good horror moments. There's a really good moment on a scene on a ship where they're examining this like derelict ship, and there's all these dead crew members on it, and they find like sea lice the size of this table. Yeah. And they're the lice that live on Godzilla.
Nice, why?
And it's a great humanity versus Godzilla story, and just them trying to cope with this unstoppable force. It's well acted. It's good and suspenseful. Good horror, good sci-fi elements. I'm gonna put this one at A. Quite good. Godzilla vs. Biollante. The cover for this movie, the VHS cover, scared the crap out of me when I was a kid.
What was it? Was it this?
Yeah, it's that one. So yeah, cover scared the crap out of me. This is another, if you remember, it was in Ultraman X, the episode with the big plant monster that was bonding with the little girl.
Yeah.
And she didn't want Ultraman to kill it because it wasn't actually bad.
Yeah.
This is kind of like that, except the monster is actually bad. And the monster is man-made.
Of course it is. What else would it be?
An alien? At least I think it was.
Again?
It's been a while since I've seen this one, but I'm pretty sure it was. This one, it's okay. I think the Ultraman episode did it better. For a similar storyline. This one is not bad. It's got a pretty good monster with Biollante, but I'm going to put this one in C. Alright. So next, Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla 2. Yet another one that didn't leave a whole lot of an impression on me. You
can tell they were just bringing it back. I feel like it was too soon to bring Mechagodzilla back.
Because we are at Heisei at this point.
93.
I don't know that it was too soon to bring him back.
But it felt like a sort of a cash grab because you could tell that Mechagodzilla was extremely popular.
Well, they're all cash grabs. That's what movies are made for.
Well, I mean, there's like a certain difference between, like, say, this and Dino Force Break.
Oh god, why'd you have to bring that up?
The pain will never be over.
I think I'm gonna put this one in D once again, just because I don't remember much about it. And the same thing goes for this one.
Which one is it?
This is Godzilla vs. Mothra again. It's Heisei.
Is that the title?
Yeah, again's not in the title, but I believe
that would have been amazing.
I believe it's just called Godzilla vs. Mothra. Once again, just did nothing for me. Don't really remember it. But now we're getting into the better part of the Heisei era. Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah, the first Godzilla movie I ever rented.
I don't think I've ever
this one involves time travel, King Ghidorah, because we did Ghidorah before, but now we have King Ghidorah, which is, it's him, but bigger and better. And we get to see Godzilla's origin in this one. We get to see because we travel back in time to like World War II, and we see we see American soldiers are Basically, they have the Japanese pinned down. They're just wreaking havoc. The Godzillasaurus, which is what he was before he became Godzilla, before the radiation mutated, he shows up and he saves the Japanese people. But he gets severely wounded in the process, and he's just kind of like laying there bleeding in Bikini Atoll before the atomic tests, and that's where he was radiated. And it's a good scene. The scene where the soldiers are like paying their respects to this giant dinosaur, where they're standing in front of him, paying respects to him for saving their lives. That's really good. Mecha King Ghidorah shows up in this movie, and it's great. We have flashes of Time Ranger in this, with a time travel, like a star-crossed lovers thing, with the woman. It's the woman who comes from the future. I think it's like 200 years from the future. And
why did I think you were about to say Godzilla and Mothra? I got really confused for a second. I'd be like, well, I shipped it, I guess.
But
that would have been amazing, actually.
Pretty good movie. I'm gonna put this one in A.
Okay.
I like this one quite a bit. Godzilla versus Space Godzilla.
I've never heard of this one.
You've never?
Why is it space?
Wait, you've never heard of this one?
No, is it in space Japan?
No, it's...
Damn it.
No, but this Godzilla comes from space. I may be remembering this wrong. Correct me in the comments if I am, but Godzilla's, like, DNA gets, like, launched into space or something, and somehow that creates it's Godzilla, but with, like, giant crystal pauldrons on his shoulders.
This sounds amazingly terrible.
It's pretty silly. We get this version of Godzilla. He has a son in this one, so we have like a younger Godzilla. He looks more like regular Godzilla as opposed to like a derpy little. It's supposed to be a derpy little toy, but it's fun. It's silly. Yeah, it's Godzilla. The enemy is another Godzilla, but he's from space and he's blue and he's got a lot of crystals on him.
But space, no, space, it's fucking space Japan.
This one's going to be Godzilla versus Destoroyah. This is the last of the Heisei era.
I've seen parts of this because I remember Destroyer's name.
Destroyah is one of the most scary and unique of all the monsters in the Toho Bestiary. He is comprised of thousands of, like, millions and billions of little crab monsters that form together into one giant one. Crab. And he has the power to destroy oxygen.
Crab.
Which is a nice callback to the first one, because that's how they kill him. In the first movie, they basically use like a sort of device that destroys all the oxygen around him in the water, and that's what kills him. Ghidorah is essentially Destoroyah, is essentially a living version of that. It's really cool. Godzilla literally goes out with a bang in this one, because this is where we see burning Godzilla. His radiation is getting so powerful that it's too much for him, and eventually he's just going to supernova and self-destruct. So there's like a ticking clock element to this one. It's got a really cool monster, good action, and his son, I believe, is what later becomes Millennium Godzilla. So I'm going to put this one in A. This one's pretty good. The American Godzilla from 1998.
No. This goes in F. Just put it in F. Save us all the time.
I love this movie. It's so bad. It's good.
But how many fish are there?
A lot. There's a lot of fish, Matthew. A lot of fish.
This movie sucks.
The acting. If anyone ever has a chance to go see a Rift Tracks live show, whether it's by Fathom Events or actually going to see them, I saw this in the theater, Rift Tracks Live, doing this movie. It is one of the hardest times I've ever laughed in my life. Watch it just for the Rift Tracks.
I hate this movie so
This
much.
movie is terrible. It's directed by Roland Emmerich, produced by Dean Devlin. I believe Devlin and Emmerich wrote it as well. And
this goes in fucking F.
This
goes in F. It's so bad. The fact that you had to get a outside source to make it watchable.
It's watchable without it, I think.
I don't know.
Because of how it is a very funny bad movie, in my opinion. I love how Godzilla's size keeps changing. The fact that the military is so hilariously incompetent in this movie. The fact that no one can seem to ever shoot him. It's like That line where
Everyone's
it's
a
like
stormtrooper.
it's like this city. It's the perfect place for him to hide. Yes, a city with millions and millions of people is the perfect place for a giant monster to hide.
This movie kills me. Where are you putting it?
The fact that there's a lot of Jurassic Park ripoffs in this, with them like running away from the Velociraptors in Madison Square Garden, and the outdated product placement for things like Josta Cola
And GM.
and GM, and I think Virgin is on here as well. Virgin Mobile.
Oh god! Wow, that super dates this.
I think that's in here, but Blockbuster. There's like a flickering Blockbuster sign in Madison Square Garden. It's like, oh, how strangely prophetic.
I hate this movie.
I know you
I
do.
hate this movie so much.
I know you really want to put it in F. I don't, though.
It deserves to be
I
there.
don't. It's
You're
so
just watching
good.
it, and the whole time you're just like, why is this happening?
Well, also, if this movie didn't happen, we probably wouldn't have gotten Heisei Godzilla. At least not as quick as we did. But yeah, this movie's terrible.
So bad.
I'll put it in F.
Yes!
It's pretty awful.
That's the
but
only thing I wanted
I
from this
still
list.
like it, but it's awful.
This is the only thing I wanted from this list.
It's terrible, but I like it.
What's next?
Godzilla 2000. This is the first Godzilla movie I saw in theaters.
Why do I feel like I saw this later on, like Cinemax or something?
Because it's possible you did.
More than likely.
Once again, not a good dub,
No.
which was the way I saw it in the theater, but thankfully I own the Blu-ray, so the subtitled Japanese version is there. That's great. Orga, the monster for this movie.
I was going to say the writer.
Is really cool, and I like the action. I like the new weapon that they have to try and kill Godzilla is just a missile that slices through stuff like it's nothing, so that it'll penetrate his skin. Which, why not? And there's a nice father-daughter dynamic with the main character and his daughter. This movie is fun. I'm gonna put this one in B. Oops. There we go. Versus Megaguirus. This one's going in D. It's not very good. I don't remember it very much. Megaguirus is like evil Mothra, I guess you could say. At least that's certainly
So
what.
it's just Mothra at the beginning?
No, it's not Mothra. It's a different monster.
No, I'm saying it's just Mothra at the beginning before it became the source of all life.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to put that in D.
I'm putting it in D just because it's not a very good movie. Okay, Giant Monsters All Out Attack.
I don't think I've ever seen this one.
It's okay.
It just exists.
It's okay. It exists.
Put it in C.
Not great, not bad. It is going in C. This one is great. Godzilla. I believe it's Godzilla against Mechagodzilla.
I don't think I've ever seen this one.
Yes.
I haven't seen this.
Godzilla against Mechagodzilla.
Not versus.
Yes.
Against.
Just against. This is a really good one.
This time, it's Godzilla.
And the woman who is on the poster is the reason why this movie is so good.
She's a good actress?
She's a good actress, and her character is likable.
Oh,
And the movie's essentially about her, because she's front and center on the poster, if you notice. And watching her struggle and watching her deal with piloting Mechagodzilla and whatnot to combat Godzilla, this one's really good. I like this one quite a bit. It's going in A. It's one of the best of the Heisei era. Tokyo SOS. I don't remember this one. I have seen it. I own it. It's on one of the double... I think it's on the double pack with Against Mechagodzilla.
That's the only way they can get it to
And
sell.
Pretty much. And I don't remember this one at all. It's going in D. Godzilla Final Wars.
Why do I feel like I saw a commercial for this?
You maybe did. This is the one where Zilla, because he was bought and rebranded by Toho, which I think is hilarious. He shows up in this movie, and the real Godzilla kills him.
Well, this movie's an A. All right.
This movie has some terrible wirework fight scenes.
That's
It's got some pretty funny moments, it's just kind of, it really is just kind of it's called Final Wars. It is the last of the Millennium Era. And they really do go all out with this one. Just aliens come down, but the aliens look like edgy Japanese people. They look like Garo actors. That's what they look like. They're wearing the coats and whatnot. The main antagonist, he just names himself X.
I hate it.
Which I think was an homage to X Japan. I don't know, but
I hate it.
I think this one's also going to go in B.
Okay.
Godzilla 2014. I love this movie.
This is the
second American Godzilla.
The actual good one with
Aaron Taylor Johnson, Elizabeth Olsen, directed by Gareth Edwards.
Also starring Breaking Bad.
Yeah, Bryan Cranston's in this too.
Here's the problem that I have with this movie. It took a long time to Godzilla.
A lot of people say the same thing. I don't mind. I was interested enough in everything else that was going on. And once again, it's really gets to the whole back to basics thing.
I mean, yeah, it does.
The new monsters, the M something. I can't remember their names now. Dang it.
Either.
Huh?
Again, either.
But either way, the fact that it was the two of them trying to mate, and it was Godzilla fighting other monsters, and it was done well, it hasn't... The action is not very frequent, but when it happens, it feels so special.
Now, was it
and
this
it
one?
Looks so good.
Because I saw it was either this one or the more recent one where they're standing on the edge of the ship. Godzilla rises out of the water, looks at them.
That's King of the Monsters.
So.
That's what we're getting to at the end.
I still remember that because I loved that it was Hawaii that was in this one.
Yeah,
I love the Hawaii
scene where he comes out of the water and the water displacement causes essentially a tsunami. And that shot where these people on the roof shoot out the flares, and you see them against his body. Like, this is the first Godzilla movie.
Fucking amazing.
This is the first Godzilla movie where you truly got a sense for how big he was. And it's amazing.
It was a great scene, and I actually really like this movie.
I know where I'm putting it.
Where would you put it?
I'm putting it in S.
Okay.
I freaking
love I was going to say A, if only because it just took a while to Godzilla, but as soon as it got
It takes a while to get there, but when he gets there, oh my goodness, it's so good.
Don't forget the part where he does the atomic breath down the other monster's throat.
Which was
so
amazing.
Cool.
Which was amazing.
This movie has so many just great moments.
Because I remember when I saw that scene in the theater, and I saw him like grab the monster and like ripping. I thought he was going to pull a King Kong, and do like a jawbreaker move. But then all of a sudden, you see the spines on his back start to light up. It's like oh, and then just right down the throat, and then its head falls off from the force of it all.
I was sitting here like this made the entire movie worth it.
Pretty much.
All right, next movie.
Shin Godzilla.
This is the one that's on Netflix.
No, it isn't. That's the next three.
I haven't seen the next three.
This one might be on Netflix now.
I think it is actually.
But
while you're doing that, I'm going to see.
Directed by Hideaki Anno of Evangelion fame.
Yeah, well.
And one of the reasons the Evangelion fourth movie is taking so long is because
to be fair, that entire series.
But the real reason the fourth one is taking so long is because he directed this movie. And
nope, just the three.
This movie is really good. It can be a little hard to follow because there's lots of characters in this movie.
Yeah.
And like every time a new character shows up, there'll be a title card with their name on it and their position in the government or what their occupation is. It happens a lot. There's a lot of reading you have to do in this movie if you're watching with subtitles.
The only time I want to read is at the beginning where they're doing a roll credits for Star Wars.
But I saw this movie in the theater, a packed theater, during a limited event. They were showing this movie for like I think 3 days in a row at a theater near us. And the theater was, it was absolutely packed. People were clapping at certain scenes, cheering, and just seeing this movie with a full audience gave me such a good experience, especially how much into it they were as well. This is easily the scariest Godzilla has ever been. His design is so freaky. He's got multiple forms, When he first starts out, he's like this. He crawls around on his belly.
Could we not?
It's freaking scary. And like he doesn't have any skin. Like his skin's not fully
Oh
there
my god,
yet.
could we not?
And then when he stands up, it's like he's got like really little arms in this one. His tail is really long to balance the rest of his body. The way they do his atomic breath, it's almost like xenomorph-esque. Like his lower jaw like splits open, and then it shoots out. He can shoot it out of his tail and out of his back as well. And this movie is also kind of funny. It's meant to be like a spoof of Japanese politics as well. It's a satire on how there's so much red tape in Japanese politics, and how to do something like shoot Godzilla with helicopters, like 40 people have to give the go-ahead. It has to be like, it's like, can we do this? I don't know. Can we do this? I don't know. Can we do this? I don't know. Can we do this? And then finally they get to the prime minister. He's like, yeah, you can do that. We can do it. 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 Firing!
By that point, everybody's dead.
By that point, Godzilla has nipped off for lunch.
Where would you put it?
A.
Okay.
It also contains one of the best final shots in all of movie history.
Now,
that might be an overstatement, but still pretty great.
For these three, let's put these three together.
I am ranking them together, and I know exactly where they're going.
Where?
F.
Are they that bad?
They are atrociously bad.
No!
We are getting ready to review Kamen Rider Gaim. Written by the same guy, created by the same head writer.
Right, Urobuchi did.
This is Gen Urobuchi. This is easily... I don't think Urobuchi's a good writer. I've said this before on this channel, I'm saying it again. I don't think he's a good writer. He's bad.
He
is good at setting things up. He's good at creating premises. He is absolutely terrible at following through on them. He's atrocious at that. Gaim is easily the best thing he's ever written.
Well, Monica.
I hate Monica.
I love Monica.
I don't like Monica. I don't think it's a good show.
We need to do a video about that.
We do.
Maybe we do. These movies... So, here's the premise. Godzilla has become so powerful that humanity just cannot fight back against him any longer. There's no other monsters. There's nothing. Just the dregs of humanity are left. So we are leaving the Earth to go live somewhere else.
And then we found Space Godzilla.
No, sadly, that would have been more interesting. But these movies do have a really interesting premise, I think. But so we're off in space, thousands and thousands of light years away from Earth. Oops, the planet's uninhabitable. Guess we gotta go back. So we do. We get there. The planet has essentially evolved into Godzilla. The planet's
Godzilla now.
No. Yes and no. A better way to say it would be the planet has evolved to coexist with him. Plants are now like razor sharp and hard as diamonds. They can cut human flesh. The animals that live here, what few they are essentially remnants that have evolved from him. Godzilla is enormous. This is the biggest he's ever been. He's absolutely gigantic in this movie. He's devastatingly powerful to a level he's never been in any of the other movies.
So it just removes a lot of the tension, because what are you going to do?
Well, here's what they do. They have a fake Godzilla in the first movie, they kill it, and then the real one shows up in the last 2 minutes in a really cool scene, and then the rest of the movies happen. We try to fight him, it doesn't work. The third one, Ghidorah, shows up, it doesn't really work. The writing's atrocious, the characters are unlikable, the action's not good, the animation's janky. These movies are terrible.
No.
F. And for you, in the gutter where you belong. Godzilla, King of the Monsters.
I still haven't seen this and I really want to.
I'm gonna put this one in F. I thought this movie was terrible.
Even the actual fighting with the Godzilla?
I think even the worst movies that you hate, you can find at least one thing about them that you liked. Mm-hmm. I can definitely say that about this one as well. The redesigns of the classic monsters that we get, they look great. Some of the monster action, really good. I hated everything else. I hate the story. It's so poorly written. The characters are extremely one-note. The ones that I liked from the last movie that come back in this movie either have nothing to do or get unceremoniously killed off in a way that I feel like I
doesn't befit them.
Not doesn't befit them, but in a way that made me go like, wait, oh, they died?
Who are you again?
Oh. Not who are you again, just like, oh, well, I guess that happened.
So do you think that this movie should have just been monsters fighting each other?
No, I think it should have been better. It should have been better. I was so excited for this movie.
I think I was too, and I just didn't see it.
I was so excited for this movie after that first trailer that came out at Comic-Con. I think it was over a year ago.
Yeah.
And I was excited about who they got for the director. I liked some of the cast that they brought on, and I swear every scene in this movie is a character says, "Hey, we need to do something." And then a character pulls up a slideshow or a hologram presentation and says, "Oh, here's how we can do that thing." And they go, "Okay." And then they go and do it. That's every scene in this movie.
I can already see that. You know what? I might just end up watching the clips of the monsters just fighting each other.
Even then, I wouldn't recommend it because some of them are so hard to see.
Fighting issue.
It's... You remember how in Godzilla 2014 you really got a sense of scale for how big everything was? From the way they moved, from the way they were shot. They feel like parade balloons in this one. There's no weight to them. It's like Pacific Rim versus Pacific Rim Uprising. The big things don't feel big.
They just feel there.
They just feel there. They feel like they're there. They don't feel like they have any weight or momentum to them. They just kind of smash into each other for the fighting, and some of the fighting is so obscured by things like dust and snow and smoke, you can't really see it a lot. I'm so disappointed by this movie.
Put it in F.
This movie's going in F.
And that's all the Godzilla movies.
That's all of them.
Except for these few at the bottom, but, as you do. Wait, is Godzilla vs. King Kong on here?
It's in the haven't seen.
I've never seen it either. I just want to see it just for the spectacle. Wait, didn't he fight them again recently?
He's going to. That's the next one.
Oh, right. That's the next Godzilla vs. King Kong, the next one.
That movie's already shot. It comes out, I think, next year.
I'm going to go see it.
I think it's 2021 it comes out. That movie's already shot.
I'm going to see it.
I am too. I really liked Kong Skull Island. If Kong Skull Island was on here, it would go in B tier. The original King Kong would be in A, and Peter Jackson's King Kong would be in B. That's how I would rate the King Kong movies.
All right. Well, here is the tier list for all of the Godzilla movies.
There it is.
Let us know what you think in the comments below.
Please do.
And don't forget to join us on all the things. We'll see you next time.
Thank you all for joining us. Have a good day.
Bye. Everybody.